Welcome to episode number 14 of the Car Flip Show. You will notice I'm holding my phone. We're going to be actually using this today. We're going to be going through an actual flip, an in-process flip. Just bought a Jeep 2 days ago, I believe, because this was posted 2 days ago. I was the first person to contact him. Today is going to be a real look inside of what it's actually like to flip a car. This is probably going to be one of the most valuable episodes we've done to date because this is real stuff you can use. Like, you can pause this right now. Well, I guess you can't right now because we haven't actually gone over it, but you could pause like during this, do actual stuff, and buy a car today using these tactics. So we're gonna get into it. I'm actually gonna show you the vehicle. This is the post. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and the post is still accessible. It's not live because he's clicked it and marked it as sold. The only information that I had was that it's a 2005 Jeep Wrangler X, 128,000 miles, automatic transmission. All that's up here, and then I have the information that he posted about it. I'm just going to read it. It says it has a hardtop, which you can see in the picture. Has a winch, which was a 9,500 pound winch. Had a CB, 17-inch Rubicon wheels. They came off of like a newer JK body style. We're going to walk around it here in a minute. You'll see what I'm talking about there. It has good tires, LEDs, so it has lights all around it. 2-inch lift, Sminnebutt bumper, cracked windshield. And he even mentioned that he was going during the snowstorm and he got cracked from a smaller hole. Has a check engine light. It's been daily driven and dependable, has a few bumps and bruises, and then he listed that, but we can work around that 7K OBO or best offer. That's the information I had to go on. When I saw this, I didn't even read the description at first because I saw 2005 Jeep Wrangler X, I saw the price, I saw the miles, I messaged right away. So what would have happened is I would have seen this inside my marketplace. Marketplace looks like this when you pull it up on your phone. You could search specifically. I actually was up here to update some of my listings. That's a whole separate topic. I was updating every single day. I'm updating my listings. I happen to just scroll down, kind of like right now. When you click on things on Facebook, it knows that you're interested. I click on several Jeeps, so actually the first post I'm on right now is a Jeep. Not one that I'm interested in because it's a CJ. I'm interested in the TJs normally. So I'm scrolling through, I see it, I click on it. The price was right, the miles were right. It was a 6-cylinder, so I went to messaged right away. My first text was, could you take $5,000 cash tomorrow for the Jeep? And I'm actually scrolling through right here, just in the feed of where and what I was texting. The reason I said tomorrow is because it was really late. I don't know, 10 o'clock at night or whatever. So I wasn't gonna go buy it right then, but I wanted to be the first contact, which is why I didn't even read the listing. So I make that, I go back and read the listing. I realized everything lined up with what I thought it was gonna be. He messaged back in the morning, he said 6K is about as low as I can go. So I'm already within the realm that I need to be at 6K. I didn't even want to argue with him, or I don't want to say argue, I didn't want to negotiate anymore. I didn't want to try to beat him over the head and say, could you do 55, try to get him any lower, because I knew if I did that, there's other people that are going to be messaging him because this is a really good deal. You can see the number of views that any ad has. If you click on it, the views are just stacking up, so I knew a lot of people were looking at it. So his next message back to me was, if we can come to an agreement, it would be the weekend before I could let you have it. I have to get to work this week. Thanks for your interest. So he posted it. It was going to be 3-4 days before the weekend. He thought, okay, I'll drive it. Maybe someone will call me, maybe they won't. When I got there in person, he was like, man, I had no idea there was going to be this much interest, which is a really common thing that people say when they price their vehicles too low. They're so surprised, and it's because they didn't price their vehicle how they should have, which is good for us. So I responded back. I said, I could do 6,000, but is there any way I could buy it today? So basically, I knew it was a good deal. He didn't realize he had priced it that low. I didn't want someone else to get to it before I did. If I had let him wait until the weekend, somebody else would have called and said, hey, I'll give you $7,000 cash like anytime. I would have lost the deal because of $1,000. Like, I wouldn't have faulted him. I would have taken $1,000 more if someone had offered me that. So he responded back. He said it will, but it'll leave me with no vehicle, but I can make do. I'm working, so if I don't respond back right away, I'll be in touch. So I text back, I said, I'm really trying to buy something today. If possible, please let me know. He asked for my phone number. And then he responded, he said, if you're serious in buying it, when I get home from work, I'll get my stuff out and have it waiting, or he said, and have it there. I wasn't expecting it to go so fast. And my next response was, I'm definitely serious. I'm just showing you as I'm scrolling down. I'm definitely serious. What time do you get home from work? He says 5:30. He asks where I'm going to be coming from. He says okay. So he basically says I'm going to get home, get my stuff out of it. He said, I just want you to know it does use a quart of oil between oil changes. So at least he was being somewhat honest, which is nice when you're buying a car. I got there, the valve cover was leaking some. There's probably an oil pan. They're really common for the rear main seals on them to leak a little bit. That's just a Jeep thing, it's not a big deal. He said, what time would you be coming? And I told him I'd be there around 5:30. And then I double checked. It didn't say in the listing that it was a 6-cylinder. It had all the decals that lined up with it being a 6-cylinder. So I asked, it's a 6-cylinder and has AC, right? Your question mark. And he says, correct. So 6-cylinder is a really big deal on the Wranglers. The 4-cylinders just aren't the best engines. They definitely don't sell as well. And even if you have a 6-cylinder and you don't have AC, it's not that you can't sell it, but the ones with AC are just way more desirable, and you really don't save any money buying one without AC. He says, I'm trying to have a notary lined up, and I'll have my ex-wife sign the title. So it was in his name and in her name, so he had to go find her and have her sign it, and he was trying to get a notary lined up. Luckily for me, I'm a notary, so I can take care of that on the fly, no big deal. For you, if you have a notary connection, maybe your state doesn't even require notaries. Some countries, that's not a big deal. Maybe where you are, it's not. But if you have a good notary connection, that will save a lot of time and aggravation. If you could say, hey, no big deal, I've got a notary friend, they'll take care of it for me. I actually ended up getting there at like 7:30, so if he had arranged something, that would have fallen through. So I had to wait on my wife to get here to drive with me over there. So getting back to this, I said, I'm a notary, I can do it. He says, even better. I said, just don't sign anything until I get there and we'll be good. With your titles, you want to be extremely careful. I'm actually going to grab the title. I'll be right back. This is the title for the vehicle that I bought. 2005 Jeep Wrangler. It doesn't say Wrangler, it just says Jeep MP multi-purpose vehicle or a SUV essentially. So when I got this from him, he had to go have his wife sign it. I told him not to have anything signed, but given the circumstances, she wasn't going to be there and him be there and his current wife be there, probably wouldn't have been the best situation. So he had to go find her, and I was just very specific. Let's see if I even said it. I said, is it in her name? And he says both. He said, I'm first on it, so she was second. My next message was, just make sure she signs her full name just like it is on the title and we'll be good. And my next text was NC, North Carolina, wants the middle name on there. So just like it is on the title, we've got Gwendolyn Warren Williams. North Carolina wants Gwendolyn Warren Williams, both printed and signed. So it's pretty straightforward on the title. So then we continued. He said, roger that. And he messaged back. He said, can you meet at 6? He needed to get some stuff out. I said, no problem. He sent me his address. And then he further commented back. He said, cash, correct? I said, yes, sir. And then I told him my wife was riding with me. She was running late. I said, would 7 o'clock be okay? He said, sounds good. When we finally left, GPS said 7:24. So that's when we got there. Now, when I got there, it was dark. I normally don't recommend, I'm gonna throw my title over here. I normally don't recommend that people go look at cars when it is dark because there's a lot of things that you're gonna miss. When we get outside here in a minute, I'm gonna show you a couple things that I actually missed. Luckily, they weren't deal breakers or things that will cause any massive repairs that would be necessary, but I did miss a couple things. I had a flashlight, pretty bright one, but it was dark and it was very cold, so I didn't spend a lot of time out there. Wranglers are pretty straightforward, so I knew all the basic things to check. We looked for rust, checked over the engine, drove it, transmission shifted well. It's a good solid Wrangler, but there were definitely a few checks that needed to be made, a few questions that needed to be asked, such as why are you selling it? He'd actually had it for, and I'll tell you from the title, he'd had it since 2012. He bought it when it had 52,000 miles on it. You can see all that when you look on the title. Most of the time, not always, it'll have the odometer when they bought it. You can see here. And then you can see the date this title was issued. Now this date could be different if anyone had ever had a title reissued for any reason. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. He had it financed, so you want to make sure everything is signed off on over here. He had paid off a loan. Generally, someone's not going to be able to have this title if there had been a loan on it. So when he handed me the title to look at, a spot that I went straight to on our North Carolina title is right here. If you can read that, it says title brands. That means if this was a salvage vehicle, reconstructed, recovered theft, flood, that kind of thing, it's going to be here in this title brand section. You want to be very careful with this title. Number one, that you don't buy one that has a problem in the title brand section that's salvage and you do not know about it. Number two, in the seller signature portion, make sure they sign correctly, because if you were, for whatever reason, selling without your name actually going on the title at some point, if you're selling with an open title, which is exactly what this is, you could be in big trouble if they sign incorrectly, because when you go to pass the title off to your seller, there's going to be an issue. They're going to come back to you, but the title's not in your name. That's a problem you don't want to run into. Be very careful with this. Me having my dealer's license, my dealership info will go up here, so I'll be putting in my dealership name, and then when someone buys it, there's a reassignment form that I'll send it off with them. So we'll throw this back over here. So I got there, looked it over, drove it, everything felt good. So then it was just a matter of making sure the numbers actually lined up with where I needed to be. There were a couple things that I found that we'll actually look at in the video as I walk around it. There was a rip in the seat. Let's see, the check engine light was, he had mentioned there was a check engine light, but what I was seeing on it is it wouldn't actually turn off, which means if someone bought it, there's no way they were gonna pass inspection unless they for sure fixed the issue. There was one other thing that I'm probably going to mention in the video that I'm forgetting, but long story short, I got there. We were down to 6. One of my favorite parts of negotiating and buying vehicles is the second negotiation. We have a course at thecarflipcourse.com that actually takes you through my exact process, and one of the modules inside the course is the second negotiation. And the second negotiation takes you to when you're actually in front of the vehicle, looking at it, talking with the person. I negotiate right off the bat every single time. So he was asking 7, I offered 5, he came back at 6. When I'm there in person, I'm no longer negotiating from 7,000. Our number is 6. So when I try to get him to come down anymore, I'm only negotiating, in my case, it was $500. I got him down to $5,500. The way that works, it's not something where I'm beating him over the head saying, hey man, this is a piece of junk. You know, you need to give it to me for $5,500. As we walked around it, I pointed out positive things, the LEDs, the winch. Oh, that's nice. I like what you did there. There was the rust. There was a little rust spot. That's what it was. That was the last thing. He didn't mention in the ad that there was a spot on the right fender, the passenger side front fender. It was kind of bubbled up a little bit. It's gonna, you know, it really, if you want it to be perfect, should maybe be replaced. We're gonna fill it in with some Bondo. It's already got bed liner on it, so you'll see that in the video. It'll be pretty easy to take care of. But that was another negotiation point. So I pointed out the good stuff. Hey, I like the hard top. I like the running board you have on it, this and that. The tires and wheels look nice. I wasn't expecting this, wasn't expecting that. You know, I know these are gonna be expensive, I might have to take care of. And then it was, hey man, you think you could do $5,500 cash right now? Those were my exact words. You know, he thought about it for a second and he said, could you do 58? And I could just, you eventually can get to the point where you can read people. I knew that he knew there were issues there. I kind of got the feeling he didn't want to have someone else come out and look at it and for him to have to show him all these same issues that I'm finding. So I said, you know what, man, for that check engine light, I'm really not 100% sure what that's going to be, and I got to have the fender put on it and have that painted. I said, I really got to be at 5,500. And I just stopped talking. And a lot of times that's what you need to do in a negotiation. Sometimes the first person that talks is going to be the one that loses. So I said, that's really where I have to be. I looked at him and he said, okay. And so it was awkward. It can be awkward. But generally, if they speak first, they're going to be the ones to come back. The last thing you want to do is start talking and say, or maybe we could, that's when you're going to get yourself in trouble. Just let them give you their answer, because a lot of times they'll say things that you won't expect. He said yes. I was hoping for that. I expected that. That's what happened. But in negotiations, sometimes it's nice just to be quiet. So I got him down to 5,500. I went to my car. I don't ever take the cash with me. I've never had any trouble, but the last thing I want to do is be walking around with 5,500 cash, driving down the road where no one can see us. I don't know. So the cash is in the car, locked up. So I went to the car, got the cash. So I had 6,000 already counted out. I counted off 500. The last thing you want to do is be in a neighborhood you're not familiar with. Get out to your car and you're 1, 2, 3, you know, counting out thousands of dollars out there in the open. So I have all my money pre-counted. So I had $6,000 cash. All I had to do was count off 500s, stuck it in my pocket, walked inside. You know, he signed his name, his ex-wife had already signed her name, and we were good to go. So that was the negotiation process. That was how I found it. If you have your phone in your hand right now, maybe you're watching this video on your phone. If you were to pause this video, go to Facebook Marketplace. As you're scrolling through there, or if you were to go to Craigslist, like I do at Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace are two of the more common places that I will look for ads by private sellers. As you're scrolling through, you're passing ads that there is thousands of dollars worth of profit on. You might not see it or be able to recognize it right now, but there's thousands of dollars in profit that you're scanning past every single time you scan. It's learning how to recognize those deals where the money is made. And for me, Jeep Wranglers are a vehicle that I do a lot of. I do a lot of the same vehicles over and over again because you become an expert on that exact vehicle. There's actually a guy in my course right now going through, he's doing GMC Envoys. They're pretty good, dependable vehicles. No major issues that are really known with them. Pretty straightforward vehicles. And he made $2,000 on his first one, and he's on his second one. He's on his way to make $2,000 on that one. This Wrangler, we'll get into the numbers actually at the end of the video. I'm at least $3,000 profit on this one. On a good day, I think I'm gonna hit 4, but we'll see how close I am to that as we actually tally up the numbers that we're gonna go through here in just a minute as far as what we're gonna have in it. But this is exactly how car flipping is done. It's finding, recognizing the deals, it's making the offer initially, it's then looking at the vehicles and knowing what to look for, knowing what problems to find, and then knowing how to negotiate those issues on the second negotiation. We're gonna buy it, get it back. There's gonna be a lot of reconditioning. You're gonna see on this one, it's more reconditioning than normal. Most vehicles you're gonna buy aren't gonna be like this. They're gonna need something all the way around them. Wranglers tend to be that because people take them off road, they're rough on them, they don't wash them. This guy, I don't think ever cleaned the interior. It's honestly halfway disgusting. So there's gonna be a lot of reconditioning on this one, but this is the process. This is how you could completely replace your income or add an extra $3,000 a month to your income. If you just do one vehicle like this a month, for a lot of folks, that's your yearly salary. That's $36,000, $40,000. Maybe you just want to supplement. You could do that. You're not gonna make this much on every single car, but it's exactly how I do it, and it's exactly how you can do it as well. So we're gonna walk outside and take a look at the Jeep. So here's the 2005 Jeep Wrangler. We're gonna take a look over here in just a second. This really is one of the first times I've walked over it. I bought it at night. Isn't the best idea. I had a flashlight, so we shined over it, I looked under it, everything looked okay. There's a couple things that I found actually a few minutes ago as I was going by with my sticky note, things that I didn't see when it was dark, but they're not anything that's major. So we're gonna do a quick walk around. I'm gonna show you the things I was seeing last night, I'll show you the things that I missed, and then I'll give you a rough rundown of what these things are gonna cost. Then we'll tie it all up at the end. We'll have our amount that we have invested, plus all these numbers I'm gonna give to you right now, and we'll give you my projected profit. But we'll start out back here, we're in the back corner. We may or may not leave our paddle naked. It adds color to your cheek sticker. But this here, I saw this last night. This is a fiberglass hardtop. A lot of folks, when they take them on and off, somebody probably tried to do this by themselves, which is possible. I've done it once. I'm not doing it again. But this here, when they dropped it on the corner, it probably broke. So this here, we'll probably just take something and just grind it off even. We'll touch up, paint that black. No one's gonna notice this. It doesn't affect anything. So we got the same thing on both sides here. It's a really common thing on your Jeep hardtops. Doesn't affect the integrity of the top. This here, if you look right here, this has like an extended flare. This is a piece of trim that's supposed to be up around there. We probably are going to try with a heat gun to heat this up. It's really cold, so it's not wanting to stretch any. If we can heat it up with a heat gun, stretch it out, see if we can fit it over that lip. And I think it's gonna work. Worst case, we gotta get a set of flares. They're not that expensive. You can buy the whole kit for probably 100 bucks or less. These will get painted. These ideally would be a nice black. Right now they're faded out. The sun gets on them and fades them. So we're probably gonna need at least 3 cans of trim and bumper paint. That's a Duplicolor. You can find it on Amazon. I buy it at Advanced Auto Parts for $6 a can. So that'll be taped off and painted. We've got the upgraded wheels. These are wheels off of a newer JK. So that's a plus for us. We're missing a lug nut here. May or may not be stripped, who knows. This here will have to be adjusted a little and then also painted. Our trim and bumper paint will be painting over this. They'll look brand new when we're done. Same thing up here, we'll be painting this. Some damage on the front fender, if you notice right here. This is a good solid Jeep underneath. There's no rust under it, but this here has a little spot of rust. He hit a deer a while back, and I think it maybe buckled it a little bit, probably chipped the paint, started the rust. So being that this already has bed liner sprayed on it, if you actually look down the side of the Jeep right here, he's painted this, painted here, through the rocker panel, up right over here. Really popular thing to do on the Wrangler just from an aesthetic standpoint. Also, it helps getting in and out. Your feet are hitting it. You got that little bit of protection. So we're gonna probably try to sand this down, put a little Bondo right here, smooth it back over. We'll tape this off and put a fresh coat of like a spray-on bed liner Duplicolor has one. I think Rust-Oleum has one. They're pretty cheap. You can get those at Walmart, Advanced Auto Parts, Amazon. So not too expensive. I missed this last night. I didn't see it. Not an expensive fix. I think I am allotting 15 bucks for this. I think you can buy a set for like 20, 25 on eBay. But we broke off here, and it's also broke off right here. So it's just kind of hanging there right now. Otherwise, coming around the front, we've got a winch, which is nice. We have lights all over the place. We do have a little ding right here, and I missed both of these last night. It was dark. It's a black Wrangler. Should have been paying attention. We've got a dent right here. Your Wrangler hoods, it's gonna be really common to have dents in this area. That's from like people putting the hood up. They'll put it all the way back. You'll get a little dent right there. That's no big deal. I don't like this. I don't just want to touch up this. I'm probably gonna buy like a bug deflector that runs on the front here. It'll give it a nice look, fading into here. I think I even have one, but I'm going to allot 50 bucks for that. If I had to buy one on Amazon or eBay, 50 bucks would be very reasonable to find a bug deflector for this. So that'll cover up our dent there. Coming around this side, body-wise, we're in pretty good shape. We definitely need a good cleaning. Something like this, hopefully would buff out from here up. Put a little touch-up paint down here. Same thing with our rails. We're gonna be painting the rails, painting our fender flares there and there. One problem with this was that it had a check engine light. I'm not exactly sure what it is yet. We've got some oxygen sensor codes, so we're gonna be going in there and seeing exactly what's going on. I allotted $200 for that repair. There's two different oxygen sensors that are shown to be bad. These sensors can be bought online for, I think, 15, 20 bucks a piece on Amazon. I'm trying to overshoot that in case something else happens that I'm not sure about. On the interior, this is another thing. I did see this last night, but I wasn't aware of it when I actually went to look at it, which is not a big deal. It's a rip in the seat. My interior guy will probably use this existing material. Worst case, he has to patch in this. I'm allotting 100 bucks to fix this. Now it's nasty on the inside. If you look at the seats, I don't think he ever vacuumed it. I mean, it's a Wrangler. Who does? It's dirty. The carpet's disgusting. There's dust everywhere. So that's gonna be a detail for sure. This is probably a good solid 5 hours for my detail guy. So I'm paying him $10 an hour. That's $50. Another expense we have up front is a windshield. Up here, he had a little crack here. It's spread out. My cost on this windshield for this Wrangler is $130. That's my cost as a dealer, so 130 bucks. We'll take care of that. I'm gonna look over my list really quick. We'll do the same thing on this side. We'll get a fresh coat of bed liner down the side. We've got the seat. One other thing on the interior, if we can throw the camera in there, our radio, it has a radio, it works. I mean, it's a decent one, it's Bluetooth and all of that good stuff, but he tried to make this work and cut it in. So everything's there, but I've got to get this sitting straight. I might have to replace this piece. I might be able to work with it, we'll see. But I think I allotted on that one $50 for the repair. So that's the majority of our problems that we're gonna be taking care of. The cost I was going over with you. We're gonna go inside in just a minute. Number one, because there's noise out here. Number two, because it's really cold. So we're gonna go in there, run over these numbers with you and just give you an idea of my total investment. All these numbers I've got jotted down here. We're gonna add that to what I have invested as far as what I paid for it. And I will give you my projected profit, let you know what I think I can sell it for. So we're gonna go inside and give those numbers a look. So that's the Wrangler. You just saw me walk around it, saw me show you everything we needed. I actually just got my calculator out. I tallied up all the numbers I was giving you. The numbers actually come to $498. So every little $15 thing, $100 thing, the windshield, the this, the that, that's $498. Now there's definitely some time that's gonna be involved on my part of doing some of the stuff, but I'm gonna have $498 and I'm gonna have to either use my credit card, write a check, pay cash for. So we're gonna add that to my investment of $5,500. That brings our grand total to $5,998, which is interesting. I didn't mean for it to be that way, but I was supposed to pay $6,000. When I'm there in person, I got it done to $5,500. So then that money that I'm gonna be spending over and above it actually comes out to right at what I was expecting, what I wanted to pay initially. So that doesn't always happen, but it's just funny that we came within $2 of it here. So my projected profit, this is where the money's made, is going to be roughly, if I sell it for what would be a quick flip on this one, 9,000 should be a very easy number to hit. If it's a nice, summer day, $10,000 would not be difficult at all. I mean, it could sell for even more than that. I mean, I've sold 2005s for more than that. It's February right now. It's not the peak Jeep season. So if we go with 9, that leaves me a profit of $3,002. If we go with 10, that gives me a profit of $4,002. Now, a lot of vehicles you're going to sell aren't going to have this, fluctuation. If we're talking about a GMC Envoy, they sell the same pretty much any time of the year. A minivan, pickup truck, pretty set on the price. A Wrangler has a little bit of variation because some people are going to be looking for this specific Wrangler. They love the wheels, they love the flares. Oh, it's got the lights, it's got a CB, it's got this and that. They're going to want this specific one. So for someone, that Jeep is worth $10,500. For somebody else, the Wrangler, the rims are okay. They really want a Jeep. It's on automatic. They want an automatic, but they're not crazy about the color. There's this and that. And so maybe it's only worth $9,000 to them. You get a lot more fluctuation in the Wranglers, which is good. I mean, in a sense, because it's more of an appeal kind of thing. Someone's scrolling through, that's the one they want. But it does weed out other people. Whereas if you have a GMC Envoy, they're pretty much all the same, other than the leather, cloth, four-wheel drive, colors, but it's more generic. So you're not really selling your custom GMC Envoy. It probably hurts you to have a custom Envoy as opposed to a custom Jeep is normally a plus. So on this one, minimum, I'm gonna get $3,000. My average profit that I'm making on everything I'm selling is roughly right around $2,000. So if I was just in a big hurry, like if I need to sell it tomorrow, if I was able to shine some things up really fast, I could probably make a quick $2,000. I'm definitely willing to wait. I'm probably going to price it close to that $10,000. I might even put it up for $10,500 when it's done, just to see what happens. So if we can hit that 4, that'd be amazing. But I'm definitely happy with 3. So that is flipping in a nutshell. If you were going start to finish, obviously we haven't finished this. Like if you ever watch American Pickers or some of those reality TV shows, they never actually show someone walking and actually just paying cash or swiping their credit card. But in a ideal situation, this is going to sell for those numbers. Like I'm not going to get less than 9 for this. My profit's going to be at least $3,000. As we talked about earlier, like in the beginning of the video, if you get out your phone right now, you scroll through Facebook Marketplace, you scroll through Craigslist, you're passing over deals just like this. You might just not know it right now. It's all about the process. It's all about up here, being able to recognize those deals. Think about the car you're driving right now. When you bought that car, what did you pay for it? Did you pay $5,500? Did you pay $10,500? Maybe it was newer, you paid $27,000. When you bought that vehicle, that's pretty close to what it's worth because you paid for it. You probably made a pretty good educated decision. Most people like to think they got a good deal, and you probably did. So if you paid $10,000 for that vehicle, if you were to right then get on Craigslist and scan for the next however long, find that vehicle for $7,500, there's $2,500 profit. Now you know that because you know that car. You probably didn't just one day decide, I'm gonna buy this car and I'm not gonna worry about the price. You did some research, you investigated, you were pretty confident that that was a fair price. If you can buy that exact same car for $75 or $482, your profit margin is whatever you pay below that. For me, Wranglers, I know like the back of my hand. I can establish value pretty quickly. There's several other vehicles that are that way for me, but it's gonna be the same for you. You're gonna pull up Craigslist, you're gonna pull up Facebook Marketplace, you're gonna see a lot of cars, and it's gonna be overwhelming. You're gonna be looking at $32,000 Porsches right beside, the $300 Chevrolet Celebrity that is only maybe, sitting on block, whatever. So there's gonna be a lot of variation there that you're not going to be able to really comprehend that. You're gonna wanna consolidate that. You're gonna make it targeted. You're not gonna wanna look at the, crazy expensive Porsches. You're not gonna wanna look at the vehicle on blocks. You're gonna wanna set some parameters there. We get into a lot of that in a lot of the videos. If you go back through a lot of the previous car flip shows, we get into a lot of that if you can have the time to watch through. This is specifically talked about inside of our course. We talk about it inside the members area, but you can do it. It's just a matter of understanding and being able to recognize the deals, being able to know what problems are deal breakers, what problems are not. If I got there and this had a bad transmission, that's not a deal breaker, but I'm paying $45, I'm not paying $55. Knowing those things and knowing which vehicles, if this is a GMC Acadia and it has a bad transmission, I'm out, that's a deal breaker. Like I'm not messing with that because that transmission is gonna cost me probably $1,300 as opposed to this transmission costing me $600. The labor is a lot more on the Acadia than it is for the Wrangler. There's a lot of that you probably don't know right now. And now maybe you're on the flip side of that, maybe you're the mechanic, you do know all of that. You're like millions of miles ahead of everyone else. You just have to learn how to recognize deals. So wherever you're at right now, it's completely doable. It's just a matter of taking the time to learn. So I hope that this channel can be there for you. If this has been helpful in any way, I would love for you to hit like on this video. If you would like to see more, hit subscribe anytime we go live. A lot of times these videos will be in a live format, maybe when I'm at the auction. Let's have a quick thought, I might come in live. And then third, if you have a question, if there's something in here you didn't understand, or maybe I could clarify for you, just put that in the comments below. I'll come behind here in a bit and answer any questions that I can. Otherwise, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.